Zacchaeus was a wee little man was he. He went up into a sycamore tree. And you know what happened after that? Jesus said, "Hey you, come down, because I'm going to your house today." Contrary to what most people think, Jesus was not against riches, especially when they're put to good use. Whenever the subject of wealth and affluence is mentioned in the Bible, many people remember the story of the rich young ruler who went away sadly after having rejected Jesus' suggestion that he should share his riches with the poor. But have you ever heard about Jesus' encounter with a certain wealthy public servant of Jericho? Zacchaeus was the man featured in our Bible verse for today, and he was quite an infamous character, especially when compared to many religious figures who walked the streets of Jericho 2,000 years ago. Jericho was actually known in those days as the city of the priests. It was a very religious place to live. Zacchaeus was an extremely wealthy tax collector, and to the Jews of that day, tax collectors, or publicans as they were called, were the absolute lowest of the low, only to be compared with common prostitutes and thieves. They were well known for being cheaters, extortionists, and just plain robbers of the poor. And tax collectors were also considered to be traitors since they worked for the much-hated government of Rome, even though they themselves were Jews. So here was a man with governmental authority to squeeze as many taxes as possible out of the people, and anything he could get from them above what Rome required went straight into his own pocket. But one day something happened that completely changed all this for Zacchaeus. He had already heard about Jesus and the miracles that he had performed, yet even more fascinating was the fact that, like himself, Jesus also had a bad reputation and was known to be a friend of publicans and sinners. In fact, one of Jesus' own disciples, Matthew, had also been a tax collector. I often wondered if Matthew had spoken to Jesus about Zacchaeus before they went to Jericho. Zacchaeus probably wondered how a man who is supposedly so religious could be a friend of people like himself. So on the day that Jesus came to Jericho, Zacchaeus dropped everything and hurried off to see him for himself. He found a large sycamore tree up the road ahead of the crowd, and when Jesus finally reached the tree where Zacchaeus was, this is what he said, which is our Bible verse for today, and is found in Luke chapter 19, verse 5. "And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and saw him, and said unto him, Zacchaeus, make haste, and come down, for today I must abide at thy house." Zacchaeus must have been shocked. Jesus called him by his name. The religious people of the day must have thought, what in the world is Jesus doing going to the house of such a sinner? But you see, Jesus knew exactly what he was doing. Right there, on the spot, Zacchaeus declared to Jesus that he was going to change his life and said he was going to give half of everything that he owned to the poor, and that he was going to make amends with the people that he had cheated by paying them back 4 times as much as he had taken from them. And what was Jesus' response? He said, "Today salvation has come to this house." It didn't matter how bad Zacchaeus had been. God's love was more than enough to forgive Zacchaeus. And Zacchaeus accepted Jesus into his home and into his life, and he became a follower of Jesus' example and teaching. He had become a newborn child of the kingdom of God. What a beautiful example of God's love and forgiveness, and how the power of that changes lives. Have you ever invited Jesus to come into your house? Have you ever thought about giving some of your money to help the poor? And that is our Bible verse for today, Luke 19:5. Hurry up now, come down from there, because today I'm going to your house. Thanks for watching, and thank you for subscribing to our channel. We look forward to seeing you again tomorrow for another Bible verse for the day.